Oseo.
Oseo.
It's a Cherokee greeting. And Liosem Chinia, this is the Yaqui greeting. And here we are right now. This time we are in the Semana Santa, the Holy Week, Passion, Passion Week. And over in the villages in Arizona, the Yaqui villages, Guadalupe, Tucson, and Rio Yaqui and Sonora. These people are Santo Católico. They call them Yaquis. They are righteously celebrating this time. Today, Wednesday, would be the Tinieblas, that is the darkening. And these people, their culture, their language, their name for themselves, the Ohimi, and where they're located on the Rio Yaqui, is all evident that they stem from native Egyptians. And they are an enduring people. And somebody else who is enduring is the hawk, and the hawk in Egypt. So go here, this is my painting here, and it is Hashem of Hashem, Hashem of Hashemer, which means hawk of hawk, and great hawk of all hawks. In English it would sound like God of God and God of all gods. And here in my painting, like this is the primeval monad, or the primeval mound, Denet, or Ben in Egypt, like that. And here the primal hawk is emerging out of the primal mound while he's incubating the egg of the eye, that the eye becomes the bird, and the bird becomes the eye of Horus. And up here is the bird, who is Heru'ur, mean grandfather hawk. Here. Now I have my display is a step pyramid here. Egypt is a river world teeming with marshes and birds of all kind. And one section of that bird that we're featuring today is the hawk. And within the hawk world, one hawk is the infraspecific Horus, who rises to become the celestial hawk, or the immortal hawk, or the divinity hawk. So down here, starting at the bottom, the first step, this is an ancient clay oil lamp from Egypt, and it's sprouting a bird feather. And as if I had a flame coming out of it, but there I have my portraiture of the Horus hawk. And then up here, this is a scarab in Egypt, Khepra, and his relation is like old lodge skins. He said, my heart soars like a hawk. So he's just as ancient as the hawk is in Egypt, probably from the early Aboriginal times. It's even said that women would dry and pulverize these beetles into powder and drink them in water in order to have large families. There. And here is a very classical image of Horus. There are many variations. There are many hawk-headed deities. And over here, this one is a turquoise stone that I received from the Egyptian woman of Horus. And here in the middle is the widget, and that is the eye of Horus, or the sacred eye, which I have also painted here. And then while living in Arizona, there are many ancient ruins. We can refer to them as Anasazi. And we visited them very often 50 years ago. And here, what I'm showing is that I had found an amuleto of the Uyua, as it's called, of the eye of Horus with turquoise beads. Why that I would find this there, I'll come to it in a minute. And over here, this is a Shivabati, sort of a funerary figure. It would be somewhere like at least more than 2,000, maybe 3,000 years old. And the figure is Hathor. All of the Egyptian names, the way that we use them, are Greek renderings. So Horus is a Greek and Hathor is Greek. Her name actually is Heru, which means that this is the lodge of Horus. And so Hathor is like the mother of grandfather Hawk, because that she had given him her breast milk to nourish his life in the world. So he is Gotrabu, he is also breastborn. And over here, this is a modern bronze bust of a hawk. And above it, this is a plaque, is what I could call it, actual from Egypt, of Horus, with hawk feather wing there. And on the other side here, this is my drawing, exactly, from the Egyptian, of the hawk that we're talking about here. And he's perched on a standard. So this is the determinative. So any names that he's put in front of, this is the divine hawk. All of the chieftains, later called kings, all had this in front of their names. They all were tentatively destined to become immortals, rising up into heaven as a hawk there. And what kind of bird we're talking about here, this doll here, I'll show you. This is here called an American kestrel, or we call sparrowhawk. That's the kind of hawk that is being portrayed in all of these images from Egypt. And he's very characterized by these markings on his cheeks. Then we can go over here to this one. This that I've made here, this is a petroglyph from southeastern Arizona. There are many petroglyphs of hawks and hawk heads, and this one is most significant because it shows the Egyptian geometry. All of the Egyptian art is all in geometric terms. And here we can see a very simple rendition. You see the square and the half circle that's rendered there. And his eye is a rectangle. And there are two triangles, two meeting triangles. And these two marks coming down from the eyes, which they would call warrior's marks, are actually derived from the bird, from the sparrowhawk there. But what it means here, that this is the Egyptian symbol for two-thirds, but it's not actually a fraction. It means, bonded to the original, to the origin. So it's a unity symbol. The rectangle or square head also is denoting Horus. I'm putting it very simple, but all of the art and architecture of Egypt is all geometrically based, and that would be a simple example. And alongside of it is the feather of the kestrel, the sparrowhawk. Now coming over here to this piece, this is a Hopi dance board. Now, most all of the people in the Southwest and Mexico have at some time or other derived from the world of the Mediterranean. Very cheaply Mexico. Even the name California is not Spanish. California is the land of Calipia. It's a Libyan, actually an Arabic Libyan name for California. The people being called the Hopi, their origin in Egypt is in the eastern delta. and they bear, in the chromosome counts, the DNA, they bear the black factor. And they overlook where they're located, the Sinai Desert, where the turquoise mines were. And that which we are calling here Hathor, or Heru, is also Lady Turquoise, for the Hopi there. And so this is a dance board that I have replicated. The original is carved out of wood, about this size, only it would have a handle on the bottom. And it was a piece that was collected around the turn of the century. So it was made at least before the turn of the century. And it is Horus. And this shows that the Hopi themselves have derived from Egypt in that section. So very, very noticeably here, we start here with the head. The mouth here is actually called the mouth of Ra. It's a hieroglyph, which over here on his name, you can see that same thing here. And it is formed geometrically by two circles that overlap, and that in the middle would be the mouth of Ra. And if you do like this from the corners of the mouth up to the nose, you get a triangle. And that would be Tehuti, or thought. Our word thought is actually Egyptian. It's Egyptian Greek. Thought is from thought. There. And also the face. The name Horus, Egyptian, of like HR, like that, also means face and face of the sky. So that the hawk also becomes the face of the sky or of heaven, and the sun and the moon would be his eyes. So this is a way of actually saying that this is saying her, which means Horus. And this is a painting on a board that I've replicated. And up here on top of the head, there's a little pyramid formed by 4 sticks, maybe bamboo sticks, that would have hawk feathers out of them. And it had red tresses. This actually symbolizes the followers of Horus, or sometimes called the children of Horus, which all shall become the 4 pillars holding up the sky. And they're figured in the hieroglyph as 4 scepters with forks on the end. And here, I'm guessing that a person who impersonated the Hopi also have a culture they call Kachina, where you have, it looks very, very Egyptian, with innumerable people dressed with masks and costumes of all kinds of features. In the Spanish invasion of the Southwest, the Hopi people were enough out of the way, so they were never subjugated by the Spanish, and fortunately they never came under the Christian or the Catholic dominion in all that. So whether their Kachina cult is actually Egyptian, but it looks Egyptian. So we can say that. And so an impersonator, similarly of this, would have this on his head, since it's painted on the board, and here I have put the red tresses. My guess is that the red hair refers to the sun. It's likely to mean the sun. And here, again, the rectangle means related to Horus is self-replication. And what it is in Hopi is a moisture board. It's a moisture board because this bird, or bird person, is flying high in the sky, taking this moisture board up there. And these lines below his arms would indicate that that's what he's doing. He's going like this, because the Hopis are always, praying for rain here. And a real clincher to me is here between his feet. This is also a Mayan hieroglyph. Now the word hieroglyph, again, is a Greek word. The Mayan word, the Egyptian word, is the medu netters. The medu netters means that these denote certain qualities certain interacting qualities, sort of an integer. And this one is definitely to rise up. To rise up. Horus is also known as that because when he administered his dead father, who was the Osiris, who had been murdered, he generates him to rise up. So that's figured a lot. But here we would say to rise up, that he is rising up there to carry the moisture board to the sky for all that. And here even the spots on his throat, shows that this is characteristic of this bird, the kestrel. So for all of that, this is the evidence that of Egypt being here. And in petroglyphs and in the language and in the various customs and cultures of people of the Southwest and into Mexico, it is totally evident, and some of it's been researched, that these people variously have come from the world of the Mediterranean. So we do have who the Greeks are, we do have the Egyptians, we do have the Libyans, and we do have the Phoenicians, and we do have the people from southern Spain, that is, the Arabic. And so when Octavio Paz writes, instead of Latin America, this is Arabic America. So with that, I have a poem from Mary Oliver. And you might guess, her title is Hawk. This morning, the hawk rose up out of the meadow's brows and swung over the lake. It settled on the small black dome of a dead pine. Alert as an admiral, its profile distinguished with sideburns the color of smoke. And I said, remember, this is not something of the red fire. This is heaven's fistful of death and destruction. And the hawk hooked one exquisite foot over a last twig to look deeper into the yellow reeds along the edges of the water. And I said, remember, the tree, the cave, the white lily of resurrection. And that's when it simply lifted its golden feet and floated into the wind, belly first. And then it cruised along the lake, all the time its eyes fastened, harder than love, on some unimportant rustling in the yellow reeds. And then it seemed to crouch high in the air, and then it turned into a white blade, which fell like a sorcerer's jet plane. Thank you. Thank you. There we go.